Welcome to Stock Knowledge and News with Arieous Invest, your trusted source for updates, earnings reports, and actionable insights to sharpen your stock market game. Join us as we explore market trends, decode the latest news, and empower your financial journey with expert stock knowledge. This is Trading Reimagined. Let's get started.
All right, so buckle up, everyone, for another deep dive. Today we're going where few have dared to go before, at least metaphorically. We're talking about SpaceX and a certain president.
Oh, this is going to be good.
It is, right? Okay, so we've got some really interesting excerpts here from pasted text.
Okay.
And basically it's saying that Donald Trump being in office might be connected to SpaceX being so massively valuable.
Interesting.
Right? Like, how does that even work?
Yeah, there's definitely a story there.
Big time. So anyone who's been following SpaceX knows they're kind of a big deal. But what's blowing my mind is this valuation.
Yeah, $350 billion.
$350 billion. It's like insane.
Makes them the most valuable startup in the world.
In the world. I mean, think about it. That's like every single person in the U.S. kicking in $1,000 to buy a piece of this company.
It's an astronomical figure.
Totally. And it makes you wonder, like, what are investors seeing? What do they know that maybe we don't?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or in this case, the $350 billion question.
Right. But before we go full conspiracy theory, how does a company even get valued like that, especially a private one?
It's different from, say, Apple or Amazon, which are publicly traded.
Right, exactly. You can't just check their stock price on your phone.
Exactly. With SpaceX, it comes down to those rounds of private investment.
Oh, okay.
And those investors, they're looking at future potential, not just current numbers.
So they're looking way ahead.
Way ahead. Launch frequency, payload capacity, how much stuff they can launch into space.
Makes sense.
Contracts, government, and commercial, all that plays into it.
So it's not just about how much money they're making right now.
Nope, it's about growth trajectory, the market climate too, that's huge.
So a lot of projection and speculation.
Absolutely. Which makes these valuations, well, kind of fascinating.
Okay, so we've got this massive valuation surge. And our source material, it links this surge to right after Trump's win in 2016. Coincidence? Or did his policies actually have something to do with it?
Well, it's tricky to say for sure if it was a direct cause, but there are some really interesting things to consider.
Like what?
Well, for example, Trump's administration, they were big on deregulation.
Right, I remember that.
Especially in areas they saw as, pushing American innovation.
Space would definitely fit that bill.
Exactly. And they really streamlined the licensing for commercial space launches.
So less red tape for companies like SpaceX.
Exactly. And less red tape often means businesses can move faster, potentially make more money.
Which would look pretty good to investors.
Makes them more attractive, absolutely. But, it's fair to ask, would this have happened anyway, regardless of who was president?
That's a good point.
Because SpaceX was already making big moves before Trump.
Right.
Their success is definitely tied to their own innovations, reusable rockets, the whole Starship program.
That's some ambitious stuff.
It really is. But even so, you can't deny that a supportive environment from the government can be a huge boost.
Yeah, I guess it's like having the wind at your back. And then you've got the whole space race angle. Trump was very vocal about the U.S. dominating in space.
Oh, yeah.
Did all that talk, did it actually influence investors? Like, maybe they saw SpaceX as the key to winning this new space race.
It's definitely possible. When the government prioritizes something, especially something as big as space, it sends a big signal.
To the market.
Exactly. Investors, they see that, they take note.
Makes it.
And they're more likely to put their money on companies that fit that vision.
Like betting on the winning horse.
Kind of, yeah. It creates this sense of momentum, of potential, which can definitely influence valuations.
Interesting.
But, of course, there's always another side to consider.
What's that?
Political talk is one thing, but does it always have real impact on the market?
That's true. Talk is cheap sometimes.
Right. So did investors actually change their behavior based on Trump's statements? That's a question worth asking.
So much to think about. This whole thing just shows how connected everything is.
It really does.
Business, politics, especially with something as groundbreaking as what SpaceX is doing.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the big question.
The big one.
What does all of this valuation, these factors, what do they tell us about the future of space?
Yeah.
about private companies like SpaceX and their role in it all.
It's like we're watching a whole new way of doing things,
It is a paradigm shift.
where private companies are leading the charge, not just government agencies.
Exactly. And that opens up a whole new set of questions.
Like what?
How will the public and private sectors work together? What about international competition? And who governs all this as we push further out into space?
Whoa, so many big questions.
Big questions for a big future.
Well, folks, that's our deep dive for today. We've covered a lot of ground here. SpaceX's incredible value, the possible reasons behind it, everything from their tech to the market, even political decisions. And it all just highlights how complex and fascinating this whole thing is. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep your eyes on the skies.
Because who knows what the future holds?
That's exactly. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep on exploring.
Arieous Invest. Trading reimagined.